Free iodine tablets at the ready in Poland amid nuclear fears. IMF cuts 2023 growth outlook. 97-year-old to run in general elections in Malaysia. UK spy chief says rise of China world's top security issue. Dog-sledding has been declining in Greenland. New Zealand plan to tax cow burps. Australia and Israel seek to grow plants on moon by 2025. LVMH sales jump as strong demand revived.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It's Thursday, October 13th, and here are your top stories. According to Euronews, in fears of a nuclear disaster, Walsall established distribution points for free iodine tablets throughout the country in September. The iodine tablets were also sent to schools, city halls, and fire stations. Tablets consumption could help raise stable iodine levels in the blood to block the thyroid gland from absorbing bad radioactive iodine, which is released after a nuclear disaster. Poland's Ministry of the Interior and Administration said this is preparation in the event of a nuclear power plant accident.
I intended to block the thyroid gland from possible exposure and from absorbing bad radioactivity iodine.
The media reported that attacks around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant have raised fears of a disaster. Meanwhile, people in the Ukrainian capital are making preparations for a possible nuclear strike, amid strong suggestions that Moscow is considering such an attack as its military falters. Some residents of Kiev have stocked up on iodine tablets to help treat radiation poisoning. Euronews reported that while the free tablets have not been distributed to Poles yet, some people are choosing to buy them privately.
As the world is under colliding pressures from the war in Ukraine, high energy and food prices, inflation and sharply higher interest rates, the International Monetary Fund on Tuesday cut its global growth forecast for 2023, warning that conditions could worsen significantly next year. The fund said its latest World Economic Outlook forecasts show that a third of the world economy will likely contract by next year. The three largest economies, the United States, China, and the Euro area, will continue to stall.
IMF chief economist Pierre-Olivier Gorchina said in a statement, "In short, the worst is yet to come, and for many people, 2023 will feel like a recession." The IMF said global GDP growth will slow to 2.7%, compared to a 2.9% forecast in July, as higher interest rates slow the U.S. economy. Europe struggles with spiking gas prices, and China contends with continued COVID-19 lockdowns and a weakening property sector. The IMF put a 25% probability of global growth falling below 2% next year.
Malaysia's 97-year-old former leader Mahathir Mohamad announced Tuesday he will defend his seat in the general elections expected next month, though he wouldn't say whether he would be prime minister a third time if his political alliance wins. Mahathir told a news conference, "We have not decided who will be prime minister because the prime minister candidate is only relevant if we win." Associated Press said, though unlikely, he will be the oldest ever candidate for the post, which has a 5-year term.
They are in control of all the government machinery.
Malaysia's Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob dissolved parliament on Monday for snap polls, caving into pressure from his United Malay's National Organization Party, which is hoping for a big win on its own amid feuds with allies in the ruling coalition. The country's election commission will meet on October 20th to fix a date for the vote, which must be held within 60 days of Parliament's dissolution. Despite his age and a health scare this year, Mahathir said he will defend his parliamentary seat in Langkawi Island.
On Tuesday, the head of Britain's cyber intelligence agency Government Communications Headquarters, commonly known as GCHQ, accused China of trying to rewrite the rules of international security, saying Beijing is using its economic and technological clout to clamp down at home and exert control abroad. Jeremy Fleming, director of GCHQ, said Beijing's growing power is the national security issue that will define our future. Fleming alleged that Beijing's communist authorities want to gain strategic advantage by shaping the world's technology ecosystems.
To make a significant change.
Fleming said, "It's changing the definition of national security into a much broader concept. Technology has become not just an area for opportunity, for competition, and for collaboration. It's become a battleground for control, for values, and for influence. And when it comes to technology, the politically motivated actions of the Chinese state is an increasingly urgent problem we must acknowledge and address. He noted Beijing sees other countries as potential adversaries or potential client states to be threatened, bribed, or coerced.
I always needed time on my own. I never thought I'd be here.
I take your blessings with your heartaches too. It's so easy and so wonderful to know it's you.
学习，一切从今天开始。FUNDAY 英语。
Communities in northwestern Greenland have lived in one of the world's toughest environments for centuries, but temperatures have risen fast in the Arctic region, and the impact of climate change is being felt in the local way of life. On the outskirts of Ilulissat, the third largest city in Greenland, many local hunters and fishermen have given up dog-sledding, and the number of sled dogs has slumped because conditions today are unpredictable, making it too dangerous to go fishing with sled dogs.
The coastal town of Ilulissat in northwestern Greenland is a busy port located more than 250 kilometers inside the Arctic Circle. Locals noticed ever since 2001, the winter seasons in Disco Bay didn't have as much ice. Dog sledding has been a long-held tradition in the north and east of Greenland. Around 2 decades ago, there were around 5,000 dogs in Ilulissat alone, but a dog sledding tour businessman said now there are only about 1,800. The dog sled fishermen have declined. The fishing from vessels has gone up.
In order to combat climate change, New Zealand on Tuesday proposed taxing the greenhouse gases produced by farm animals when they burp and urinate. The government said that the farm tax will be a first in the world and that farmers should be able to recover the expense by raising the price of items that are environmentally friendly. But New Zealand's Federated Farmers, the industry's main lobby group, warned that the plan would rip the guts out of small-town New Zealand.
New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said all of the money raised from the planned farm levy will be reinvested in the sector to finance new technologies, research, and incentive payments for farmers. Agriculture Minister Damien O'Connor described it as an exciting prospect for the country's farmers. New Zealand's dairy giant Fonterra has been carrying out trials since 2021 to gauge the effectiveness of probiotics that studies show reduce burps or methane emissions.
Australian and Israeli scientists are trying to grow plants on the moon by late 2024 or early 2025. The researchers said the project is an early step towards growing plants for food, medicine, and oxygen production, which are all crucial to establishing human life on the moon. The Lunaria One organization is running the project, which involves scientists from Australia and Israel. Together with the Israel-based nonprofit Space IL, plants will be chosen based on how well they cope in extreme conditions and how quickly they germinate.
This international collaborative effort involves a number of institutions, including Australia's Queensland University of Technology and Israel's Ben Gurion University, as well as institutions from South Africa and the United States. Australian plant biologist Brett Williams said that the seeds would be carried by the Bereshet 2 spacecraft, a private Israeli moon mission. They would be watered inside the sealed chamber after landing and monitored for signs of germination and growth.
French luxury goods giant LVMH, the world's biggest luxury group, home to fashion brands such as Louis Vuitton and Dior, beat market forecasts in the third quarter, posting a sharp rise in sales as wealthy shoppers splash out on fashion, and Americans in Europe made the most of the strong dollar. LVMH got an added boost from improved business in China as COVID-19 curbs eased. Its third quarter sales came to $19.2 billion, up 19% on a comparable basis from a year earlier.
Bernstein analyst Luca Solca said that a recovery in China could come as consumers in the West begin to sober up from the post-pandemic euphoria. She said, "The relief of getting out of the pandemic alive has trumped any bad news. Consumers who can embrace a carpe diem attitude. Nobody wants to be the richest person in the graveyard." LVMH Group said sales in Europe, the US, and Japan were up sharply since the start of the year, benefiting from solid demand from local customers and the recovery in international travel.
FUNDAY News will help you sharpen your English skills and keep you informed about international current events. If you want to know more about our other programs and keep learning about the world's most important topics in English, please click the link in the description below to join FUNDAY for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I will see you next time.